One from the Boston Real Estate Investors Clubs, Las Vegas Real Estate Insiders Clubs, Business Insiders Clubs. My name is Jason Burke. I'm the president of the Real Estate Insiders Clubs and the CEO of the High Performance Assessment Event Coach. And tonight we have a special event. We have HGTV personality, successful real estate investor, networker, Amy Mahjoory. And Amy is going to be teaching you about 3 ways to obtain funding. And Amy has raised over $20 million of private money for her real estate deals. And she's going to show you the systems and the processes, how she's used networking to raise that money and to be successful in real estate investing and in business. And we're so happy to have Amy here as part of this event. So I want to welcome Amy here. Thank you so much, Amy, for joining us.
Thank you. It's Amy Mahjoory. It's great to be here with all of you. As Jason mentioned, I'm a real estate investor and educator. I've been investing in real estate over the last 10 years. And during that time, I really stopped counting once I hit $20 million in private money. And so that's what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. And I was talking to Jason earlier about the foundation of my system, which is creative networking. So some of you may or may not be real estate professionals. It doesn't matter. Even if you're looking for other ways to grow and scale things in your personal life or other businesses that you may have, then you are in the right room, if you will. So specifically, examples I'm going to be sharing with you will be real estate related. And we are going to talk about how, regardless of your experience, your liquidity, or your credit, everyone can raise private money, whether you're a brand new investor, a seasoned investor, part-time or full-time. Now, I always like to start with an earning disclaimer. You know, there are a lot of people who will come on here and, you know, share a picture of a fancy jet or a fancy car, and that's not how I roll. That's not who I am. I like to start with the truth, which is an earnings disclaimer, letting you guys know that, hey, we're all adults. I get it. You can take a picture of this and read it later if you want, but there are risks related to investing in real estate. There are no guarantees. And another disclaimer is that I am here strictly for educational purposes. I am not here to give you guys legal advice or professional advice. I'm going to be sharing the system, steps, and strategies that I have created that have worked for me and many investors all over the country. So quick roll call, you guys. It doesn't matter if you're brand new, part-time, full-time, experienced. Any real estate professional really can benefit from these strategies. You can be a realtor, a contractor. You know, I work with mortgage brokers who learn how to raise capital because they have investor clients. And all they do is add another pillar to their business, and now they're generating referral fees because they're basically like brokering deals. Or maybe you're someone who's always wanted to get into real estate, but you weren't really sure where to start. So for those of you who are on today's call, it's so funny because even though this is an area of expertise, if you will, I'm still a student, right? So I'm still an investor. I have coaches, I have mentors, and I'm always putting myself into environments just like this to grow personally and professionally. And I always talk about, just finish the race, you guys. We're here tonight. We took action. We're going to be spending the next hour together. So what I'm going to do is give you guys a gift. So for those of you who finish the race and stay to the end, I'm going to give you a one-on-one strategy session with me. And I'm going to show you how you can book a call with me at the end of tonight's presentation. This is me and my family. This is my husband, Sean, our daughter, Emma. She's 2 years old. Sean is also a real estate investor. So it's a pretty fun combination. He's the commercial guy, I'm the residential girl. We do not do business together. We have completely different businesses, entities. I used to want to combine forces with him, and now I agree with him. We are better off keeping them separate. But you know, my background is very traditional, you guys. Just like many of you, I was born to go to school, get good grades, and go to school and get a job in corporate America that I'd stay at until I retired. Collecting my secure and stable paycheck. And for me, that was Dell Computers in Austin, Texas. And I still can't believe it when I share this with you today that I was at Dell for 14 years. And I basically come to a fork in the road, and I wanted to actually start flipping houses as a side hustle while I thought I wanted to target my dream job with Nike. And what ended up happening was I ended up investing in coaching and mentorship, and I, on accident, was able to buy, renovate, and sell 10 properties in just my first year back in 2014, while working my full-time job at Dell, all because I was able to grow and scale so quickly because I had access to private money. And so very early on, I realized this was a towering strength of mine. I have got plenty of weaknesses, you guys. We can talk about that all you want later. But that really had a snowball effect on everything. And once I saw the earning potential in this industry, sure, I fell in love with the transformation process, but that's when I decided to cut ties, respectfully part ways from Dell and pursue real estate full time. And then everything else just started to happen. So whether it was HGTV, coaching other investors, keynote speaking, all that stuff. So you guys, I'm going to make this a very interactive event. If you guys can walk away from today's presentation with understanding what is private money, where is it, and how to obtain it, would you guys consider this a successful evening? Let me know in the chat box. Give me a yes if you see value in that. Now, as we get into the details of what private money is, I'm going to start with these common thoughts and objections. And I will open up the Q&A at the end. So as your questions come up, pop them into the chat box, and I'll make sure we get through them at the end of the presentation. Now, there are a lot of investors out there who will think, I don't have any experience, Amy. No one's going to lend me money. I've already tried raising private money. It just does not work for me. Or I don't have any assets, like my liquidity, right? I have no liquidity. I'm constantly being told I got to have skin in the game, skin in the game. And that's so annoying because we have plenty of skin in the game, you guys. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But really, when a lender tells you you have to have skin in the game, it's not a private money lender, and that's not the type of money that we're searching for. All they're saying is they're not going to fund 100% of your deal. More on that in a little bit. Or maybe you're thinking, I have terrible credit, or I have no credit, or I don't have the time. Like, I have a family, I have another job, I have 1,000 other things I need to be doing. It's not a big deal. I have worked with investors who have 3 hours a week to commit to their real estate business, and others who are doing it full time. So for those of you who know me, I'm very direct. I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the in between. And anybody can do this. These are all excuses. So if you've tried to raise private money and you don't think it works, we just need to change your strategy and your approach. 2 of the most common ones that I hear are the last 2 bullet points you see at the bottom of the screen, which is I feel bad asking people for money, or I don't know anyone with money. Stop feeling bad. Why do you feel bad? You're the one presenting others with an opportunity to invest. So already we're making mindset shifts. If you haven't already done so, do it right now. You're the one positioning yourself for aggressive growth. You're the one offering private money lenders an opportunity to earn double-digit returns with a protected, secured, and insured asset. They're not getting that in the stock market. They're not getting that in the bank. They're not getting that in their retirement account, right? So it's the more we educate ourselves and increase our knowledge, the more confident we're going to be in getting out there and networking to raise capital the right way and to raise it from the right people. I am one of very few, if the only, real estate educator out there who will tell you, you do not need to depend on your friends and family members. You do not need to target your inner circle. All the capital that I've raised, still till this day, because I'm very stubborn, came from people I didn't even have an existing relationship with. So how do we do that? How do we get out there and build a relationship? Get someone to know, like, and trust us, and vice versa, with our Uber drivers, cashiers at the grocery store, your neighbors, people from your church communities, people at sporting events. So yes, raising private money is rapport-based lending. You're not going to meet a stranger on the street and be like, hey, give me $100,000. But I'm going to show you exactly how to get out there and strategically develop these types of relationships. So when I talk to you about private money, what we're going to focus on this evening is real private money. So what that means is we are not targeting banks, and that includes credit unions and community banks, because even though they're investor friendly, that is not who we're targeting. We don't have time for their cumbersome process, and they are not going to lend on all the properties that we are looking to acquire. I'm not talking about hard money lenders. What is a hard money lenders for some of you who may be newer to the industry? It is a private financial institution who will lend on real estate deals as long as the deal makes sense. So it's a private company that lends money at high rates and high points. I'm going to share an example of what that looks like shortly. So what I'm talking about is everything I rattled off earlier. People who may be a part of your network, but definitely people who are not. People who've got cash collecting dust, people who've got money in retirement accounts, people who have equity in their home, people who don't even know that we exist and who know what we're doing. These are all of the things that us as real estate investors can do with private money. It is an extremely valuable skill set that we want to have as a part of our tool belt. It doesn't matter if you're part-time or full-time. We can use private equity on buying, renovating, and selling properties, on wholesaling, on acquiring multifamily properties, commercial deals, investing in commercial syndications. Maybe you want to start your own fund. I've got more money coming in right now than I need. So one of the things I've been thinking about it, is maybe I'll start my own fund. These are all good problems to have, you guys. With access to private money, we can exponentially grow our path to retirement. So what do I mean by that? Most people in this country, if they really try and apply themselves, can afford to buy one low-end rental property a year. So they're putting down $25,000 to buy a rental property that's going to yield $200 to $500 a month max. Why buy one rental property a year when we can buy 1, 2, 3, 5 a month? So the money problem goes away once you know how to raise private money. So let's take a look at this example. As real estate investors, a lot of us will start with hard money. I love my hard money lenders. I don't work with them directly anymore, but I still take care of them indirectly through referrals. I'm going to show you how that works. So if we go out there, we get a hard money loan, on average, hard money lenders are going to give us around 70% of our total cost. Well, that means we still have 30% plus all of our carrying costs that we got to bring to the table. I don't want to come out of pocket for that, not because I'm scared or because I don't have it. But if I have that kind of money sitting in the bank, I'm going to go buy more rental properties. That is my vehicle to financial freedom. So I want to leverage off of other people's money while giving them a number of benefits we'll go over shortly, to acquire as many investment properties as I can. So with private money, we can bring that 30% plus all of our carrying costs to the table in that form, in private money. So we don't have to tie up our own cash. Let's take a look at this concept applied to one deal. It is very easy for us as real estate investors to borrow $100,000 from a hard money lender. That's nothing. That's, for most of us, that's not even a deal. So let's say we borrow $100,000. On average, it could be more or less depending on your location or your experience. A hard money lender is going to charge you 13% annualized interest for that loan, plus 3 points. What is a point? It's a percentage of the loan. So the cost of that capital is $16,000. Well, if we get out there and raise private money, what I have found is the nice round juicy number is 12%. I offer my private money lenders a 12% annualized return. Now that cost of capital for the exact same loan for $100,000 is only $12,000. So I've already projected an additional profit to my bottom line of $4,000. Now that's just $4,000 on a $100,000 loan, which is nothing. So what if we borrowed $500,000 or $1 million? You guys see how fast that starts to add up? Now, what if we take that concept of only $100,000 and we apply it to only 2 deals a year? That's $8,000 more in potential profit conservatively every single year. Private money is very beneficial to us as real estate investors because we set the standards. We are the ones dictating the terms and conditions. We are the ones telling the private money lenders what we are offering them. If you have somebody reach out to you, like I'm sure we all do on LinkedIn, for example, saying, oh, hey, I'm a private money lender, just fill out this application and, transfer me $200 for an app fee, and here's what we're gonna quote you. They may technically be private money lenders because hard money is private equity, but that is not the kind of private money we're looking for. We're not looking for hard money. With private money, if you're wondering, is this person legit? Are they a private money lender? You're going to find yourself being the one who's educating them on the process, the benefits, the value to working with you, which I'm going to share with you in just a second. So with private money, you can obtain 100% funding. I'm talking about 100% of the purchase price, 100% of the renovation, plus all your closing costs, all your carrying costs, and you can close tomorrow if you want to. So on these next 4 topics, make sure you guys pay special attention, take screenshots or photos if you would like. Why private money? These are all the benefits to us as real estate investors. Well, we like private money, especially in today's market, because we got to be competitive in our offers, right? We got to put in cash offers. And because we're putting in cash offers, we can close as little as, realistically a few days, a week. It just depends on your market and your goals and what you've got going on in your portfolio. Also, with private money, we can buy any sort of property. So when I talk about non-conforming properties, I'm talking about a property that may have mold or maybe it does not have functional plumbing. It doesn't have a functional kitchen. Banks are not going to lend on that. You know how many investors come to me and say, why don't I just get a loan from a bank at 6% instead of paying a private money lender 12%? Do you want to wait 30, 45, or 60 days for a bank? Do you want to fill out 60 pages of paperwork? By then, that offer that you've submitted is long gone. So we are no longer putting ourselves into a competitive environment. And banks are not going to give us more than 10 loans anyways. Multiple projects, we can take on as many wholesale deals, as many fix and flips as you want. There's no restriction there on how many projects we take on, as long as the deal makes sense, right? Which also reminds me, one of the hardest things that we are tasked with as real estate investors is finding the deal. So once we find the deal, the last thing we want to have to worry about is scrambling to the table to come up with the funds to close. I've seen it happen so many times where investors find this amazing deal all over the country, and then they can't get 100% of the funding, either because they don't have it or they didn't know how to raise it. So they have to let the contract go. That is the last thing we want to do once we've been, investing our time and dollars in marketing and finding these leads. It's a great way to grow our passive income. We can go buy duplexes, townhomes, single family homes, mobile homes. You can go build, one of my investors is building a mobile park in Austin, Texas. The opportunities are endless. And not only does it serve us well for all of these reasons as real estate investors, but we are helping others. And what I mean by that is we are helping our private money lenders diversify their investment portfolios while earning double-digit returns. So let's say you come across a private money lender who says, all right, Amy, I hear you. That sounds great. I would love to invest with you, but I don't have a bunch of cash sitting around collecting dust. What are all the different funding options? How can I park money with you? Here you go. Here's point number 2. Take a picture of it. Take a screenshot. These are all the different funding options that your private money lenders have access to. Hey, private money lender, you got equity in your property? Great. Let me leverage off of your HELOC. Hey, private money lender, do you have a retirement account? You do? Okay, you're not sure if your retirement account can invest in real estate? Let me show you how that process works. And you take them through your detailed private money power packet, your private money presentation, more on that in a little bit. Maybe they've got personal or business lines of credit they can leverage from. Credit cards can also be personal or business. I've got credit cards right now that I'm lending out to investors, and it's pretty cool. There are different ways you can set it up, but that's also an option, leveraging off of credit cards. The next time you guys get a Home Depot or a Lowe's credit card in the mail, stop throwing it in the garbage. Open up that line of credit and start lending it out to investors. Maybe they've got a life insurance policy or HSA, a health savings account. Those are accounts that can invest in real estate as well. Now, there's a certain way they want to set them up, so you can educate them on how that process works. And then lastly, we talked about the cash, but the stock market. Again, if they got money sitting in the stock market and they're earning, 6%, hey, liquidate your stocks and come park your money with me. I'll pay you double what you're earning in the stock market, and I'll protect, secure, and insure your investment with the appropriate contracts. Now, all that said, earlier I told you guys, I'm a straight shooter. I don't dilly-dally. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, the in between. I said earlier, there are risks to investing in real estate. We're going to make money. We're going to lose money. It's part of who we are and what we do. I am very direct with my private money lenders, and I tell them there's a time and a place in a tactful manner about going about this. But I tell them, hey, just so you know, there are no guarantees. I can't guarantee you anything. And we can't, by the way, it's an SEC regulation. So I go on to say, worst case scenario, you have to be okay never seeing that $100,000 again. But the probability of that happening is not likely for all of these reasons. And I take them through, I have 12 different credibility pieces that I take them through. More on that in a little bit. So I tell them there are no guarantees. You are still making an investment. Point number 3, these are all the benefits that your private money lender will benefit from by investing with you. I keep talking about protect, secure, and insure. Those are the 3 contracts. We're going to use 3 contracts to protect, secure, and insure their investment. To secure it, we're going to record a mortgage. To protect it, we're going to notarize a promissory note. And to insure it, we're going to add them as a beneficiary to our builder's risk insurance policy. That alone is huge. Everything else can delete. Those 3 things alone are huge. So you want to be able to clearly articulate how that process works to your private money lender. Because remember, You're going to be working with private money lenders who have done this before, and they're like straight up from Wall Street. And you're going to have private money lenders who have never done this before. It's the neighbor next door. So you're going to come across all sorts of prospective lenders. We have to know what those conversations are going to look like with every single one of them. Go on to explain to them, hey, we have collateral below market value. So what I mean by that, private money lender, is the minute I close, for example, on the purchase of this distressed property, I built instant equity in the deal because I buy my homes at 90 cents on the dollar. So the minute I close on the purchase, I 10% equity in the deal. Now, some of you may buy your homes at 70 cents on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar. So explain that to them. I don't. So I tell them 90. You don't tell them 90 unless that's your number as well. Sometimes I pay fair market value for my homes, but that's because I'm putting so much into it. It may be a tear down or a new build that the equity is still there. So through my 12 credibility pieces, I show them how that process works. I also go on to explain, I'm offering you high returns. My number is 12%. Yes, you want to go nickel and dime them and offer them 8% or 10%? Sure, you can do that. Why? I don't have time for that. 12% works. What is 2 to 4% annualized in savings a year? Nothing. Take my 12%, move on to the next private money lender, and continue to grow and scale your business. These are also fixed rates. I don't change them. I've been doing this for 9, going on 10 years. It's still 12%. And all of my notes are short-term notes. Every contract that I use, and I use 3 to 6 different contracts, depending on the private money lender I'm working with, they're set up on 12-month notes. Now, the very last point is very important because once you have converted a private money lender to investing with you, you want to continue to nurture that relationship. So you want to make sure you have a very detailed follow-up system in place. I'm not talking about a text message. I'm not talking about a phone call. I'm not talking about an email blast. It's much more sophisticated than that. So figure out, what is your follow-up system? How are you going to nurture your network? Figure out what that looks like, because there are 2 things you want to focus on. Once those transactions start happening and they've invested with you, number 1, you want to get them to reinvest in your next deal. And number 2, you want to get them to increase their investment amount. So that's how we continue to build these long-term relationships. The 4th point is, I have a lot of investors who will come to me and say, Amy, I don't have any experience. No one's going to lend me money. Who cares about your experience? Leverage off of your team of experts. How long has your realtor been doing this? How do you know your contractor? What about your architect? So on and so forth. This is your team. Highlight your team. I still don't know half of the proper terminology when it comes to construction. I don't care. I don't want to know how to build a house. I want to know how to find somebody who knows how to build a house the right way. So our job as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, is to focus on building our power team. Who are the A+ players who are going to get us to the finish line and set up our business the right way with high ethics, with high integrity? Yes, this includes your private money lenders. There are private money lenders who you will respectfully be turning away because their ethics and morale do not align with yours. We don't have time for that mindset shift. We don't need their money. They need us, right? We are presenting them with an opportunity to invest. We're offering them double-digit returns. We're protecting, securing, and insuring their asset. Make these mindset shifts before you even start to think about talking to private money lenders, because if you can't answer these questions and know them like the back of your hand, if they sense any sort of timidness or uncertainty in your voice, they're not going to invest with you. Now, all that said, some of your private money lenders may be more visual. So if that's the case, create a chart like this. I remember back in 2008, my 401k back in corporate America took a huge hit. It dropped by 50%. And I remember being upset about that. And at the end of the day, I blamed myself. It was my fault that my retirement account dropped by 50%, because we're going to talk about risk and control. Risk is related to control, all right? So the less control we have, the higher our risk. I can't control my retirement account. I don't know what's going on in these funds in the stock market. I just give someone my money, or we'll park it in the bank because that's what we're trained to do since we were born, and we let someone else manage it. We have no say in the process. That is very different from what we do as real estate investors. So because risk is related to control, as real estate investors, the more control we have, which we do in our properties that we are acquiring because we have a system in place that we follow, right? the lower our risk. So explain this to your private money lender. I, for example, one of my 12 credibility pieces, I have a property analysis template. It's an extremely detailed, basically fancy Excel spreadsheet that I use to analyze specifically all of my fix and flips and all my wholesale deals. So I spend a lot of time on creating the spreadsheet so that now I can analyze the deal in 2 minutes. I plug my numbers into this property analysis template. It spits out a number at the bottom of the spreadsheet. It says buy or don't buy. I show that to my private money lender. I say, see this property analysis template? See every single cost variable I've taken into account? See my detailed system? Yeah, you also see my potential profit of, for example, 50 grand. I don't hide that from them. I am an open book. Well, this is how I buy my properties. So I've got more control, which means our risk is less. There are no guarantees, right? Same with this example. This is an example of an image I just took off, the internet, but walk into any bank, you're going to see a big promotional sign in their lobby with balloons dangling off of it saying, give us all your money and we'll pay you 0.25%. Really? I want to sit there and talk to every client that walks in and says, give me your money and I will pay you 48 times the return, right? I'll offer you a 12% annualized return. Now, this is a different way of you preaching the same message, of you continuing to educate your private money lenders on the benefits to investing with you. Give them another example of a real life scenario. Hey, private money lender, you're more visual. Here you go. Create a bar graph if you guys want to. You take $100,000, you put it in the bank, and maybe you earn 1%. Great. You're going to have $1,000 by the end of the year. Or you could park that same $100,000 with me, and at the end of the year, you're going to have $12,000, and it's backed by real estate. Because remember, we are recording a mortgage. Their name is attached to the property. They've got collateral. I cannot close on the resale of that property without getting a payoff letter from them. They have to sign off on it. This is huge. Okay, Amy, sounds great. I get you. I hear you. This is amazing. I started to make mindset shifts. I see the value in raising private money. So what do I do now? Okay, when I talk about know who you are, what I mean is know your role. What do I mean by that? I have a 20-second power pitch that I use. I actually have two versions. I have a 5-second power pitch because I think one of my students did not. I think I saw you on here. I have a 5-second power pitch as well that I recently rolled out, which did not, I need to still send you. And Jason, if you're okay with it and we can talk about it at the end, I'd be more than happy to give everyone on today's webinar that script, that template that I use. But what you want to do is start telling anyone and everyone you're planting seeds. That you are a residential redeveloper. It doesn't matter if you're doing this part-time or full-time. You are a residential redeveloper, and then you just go right into your 20-second power pitch. So for example, when I worked at Dell, I never told anyone, oh, I work at Dell and I'm a part-time investor and this is just my side hustle and I don't really know what I'm doing, but I've got these mentors and I'm sure they're gonna help me figure it out. Okay, nobody wants to hear that, first of all. I never spoke about Dell again. Now that was a risk I was willing to take. I'm not telling you to go risk whatever it is that you have on the line. But if I were to get fired because all I did was practice and preach real estate, I didn't care. So you do what makes sense to you. But anytime I met somebody and they said, oh, it's so nice to meet you. What do you do for a living? I went right into my elevator pitch. I'm a residential redeveloper based out of downtown Chicago. And it's pretty cool because our company is currently on target to renovate 5 properties over the next, several months. And our investors love it because they get to kick back and relax while we do all the work. And they earn double-digit returns with a protected, secured, and insured asset. What was it that you said that you do again? It's so nice to meet you. Now I'm slower, right? In my delivery, more casual and breezy. And I don't sound desperate. I'm just trying to get everything out there to you guys tonight. And so I purposely dangle that carrot at the end so that they're like, wait, what do you mean? Investors, double-digit returns, tell me more. So that is step 1 to you opening up the door to having these conversations with prospective lenders. And then you want to make sure you have your own subset of credibility pieces. So I have 12 that you are using as your excuse to follow up with these lenders. Oh, let's schedule a 30-minute coffee talk and you take them through your private money power packet. And then maybe the next coffee talk, you take them through your list of frequently asked questions. So I've been doing this for 9, 10 years. Now I have almost 7 pages of frequently asked questions that I have received from all sorts of private money lenders. I've nicely packaged it up into a little brochure. And before my private money lenders even ask, I've given it to them. If we have a coffee talk scheduled for tomorrow, I'll follow up with them and say, hey, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Here's a list of FAQs, look them over, and I'll see you tomorrow. That way, when tomorrow comes, I've already answered 98% of their questions through the list of FAQs. Now I can spend 30 minutes building rapport. Remember earlier I said raising private money is rapport-based lending? So now I can build rapport, I can build trust, I can get them to like me. We can talk about personal things, our families, what they do outside of work. This is how you start to target people outside of your inner circle who are not your friends and family members, the person seated next to you on an airplane. So you guys keep in mind, one of the things I also do with my students is, and this is a great example, is we do a lot of mindset shifts, and it's the psychology of investors and how to talk to private money lenders. So remember earlier on today's call, I said, hey, it's great that you guys are here. So for those of you who finished the race, I'm going to give you a free, basically a strategy session with me one-on-one. So make sure you stay to the end and I'll show you exactly how you can get on my calendar. So this is very similar to what I do with my students, reminders, psychology, right? How do we get in front of the right people? I always talk about proximity is power. So there are private money lenders that you are going to come across who will try to leverage their power, for example, and how much money they have to control who you are and what you do in your business. Kindly remind them that they are silent investors. They don't have a say in what you're doing or how you're running your business, right? They're silent investors. Every month they'll give them an update. That can be another one of your credibility pieces. So what does your monthly investor report look like? And then that's it. So great, you've got this power pitch. I'm going to give you my script for that. You're going to go out there, you're going to start planting seeds. You're going to talk to anyone and everyone. There are these 3 very specific creative networking strategies that you can then start to apply once you're confident and comfortable in who you are and what you're doing. So number 1 is going to be word of mouth. And I love sharing this example because it's something I never thought would actually happen. So word of mouth is very powerful, you guys. It goes a very long way. So it starts with the power pitch that I'm giving you guys, right? But then what? So for example, I remember when I was living in downtown Chicago, I hopped into an Uber. And again, for me, networking has always been very natural. I'm always going to ask when I meet, oh, hey, like, what do you do outside of Uber, for example? And that's what I asked Larry, who was a retired physician. Oh, Larry, it's so nice to meet you. And he was being really quiet. He wasn't really talking, but I wanted him to ask me what I did for a living because I wanted to go into my 20-second power pitch. So I was like, oh, so what do you do outside of Uber? And that's when he went on to tell me he was a retired physician. And then naturally, right, the law of reciprocity kicks in. So he finally said, oh, what do you do for a living? So then that's when I went into my 20-second power pitch. Now, Larry, I did convert him into a private money lender. Now, he didn't commit that day, right? I just met him in an Uber. But that power pitch, me announcing to anyone and everyone, me wearing my networking hat, my marketing hat, the minute I leave my house, knowing anyone I encounter is a prospective private money lender, even that person right now I see outside walking down the sidewalk with their kid, that is a prospective private money lender. So that resulted in us exchanging contact info and then me following up with him. And then I slowly started to drop all my credibility pieces on him one by one until he invested. So word of mouth is extremely powerful. Number 2, another great way for you guys to network for private money is fundraising events. So I think fundraising events are fun. It's a great excuse to get all dolled up and, go to a VIP event. I'm very specific. I will make a bigger investment into a VIP fundraising event. I will go spend over $500 to go to the Chicago Bears ball because the players are the ones who are serving us. And I sacrifice those expenses in other parts of my life, personally and professionally. But by going to high-end fundraising events, now you're placing yourself in an environment with high net worth clients, high net worth individuals. So I talk often about proximity is power. Put yourself in that environment, but again, know your role, know what you're going to say to everyone you encounter. I'm going to sound like a broken record. It starts with your 20-second power pitch. That is step 1 in anything you do. but then what do you say? So as you start to have conversations with private money lenders from Wall Street, have a script for that, memorize it, put it into your Dropbox file. As you have conversations with the private money lender who's never done it before, create a script for it, systematize it, put it into your Dropbox file so that you can start to practice these scripts, especially if you're introverts. Practice it, record yourself rattling off the script so that we don't sound like those credit card companies who call us. It's so annoying. But fundraising events are huge. And then ask yourself this, you guys, what are you willing to sacrifice? So how can you replace activity A with activity B? Do you have to go to the bar with your friends 3 nights a week, for example, or can you go 2 nights a week? And then the third night, go to a fundraising event, go to a baseball game, go to a Bears game, for example, right? I used to live in Chicago. So what are you willing to sacrifice? And is it really a sacrifice if you're working towards crushing your goals? If you look at any family photo of me, and I should actually put some of them in the presentation, back in 2014 and 15, I am at the dinner table with my laptop. I lost friends. I lost 2 of my best friends during that process. My family was annoyed with me. But every picture, my laptop was attached to the hip, and that was a sacrifice I was willing to make. My dad didn't talk to me for 2 years because he didn't support or agree with what I was doing in real estate. I didn't care. I let all that negativity go in one ear and out the other. I kept my head down. I had a goal and I focused on the end result, and it worked. Have goals, you guys, write them down because thoughts expand. I still have, I don't have it in my office, but I still have all of my goals written down on a 5x7 index card in the kitchen on the island, so that every time I walk by it, I see it, because thoughts expand and I want to cross those lists of things to do so that I hit that goal every time I see that note card. So what are you willing to sacrifice? And is it really a sacrifice if you're working towards achieving your goals? The number 3, another great way for you guys to start networking is have an online presence, because whether we like it or not, the first thing prospective private money lenders are going to do when we talk to them or meet them is Google us and go to our website, like it or not. So we've got to have some sort of an online presence. So that starts with a website. It does not have to be anything fancy. Don't go investing a bunch of money in a complex website right now. It's not a big deal. Get a landing page. You don't know what a landing page is, just Google it. You can have an opt-in page, it's fine. Just have some sort of a online presence for your website. And you do want to make sure you're active on social media. So I have a lot of investors who will be like, oh no, I don't want my family to know what I'm doing. Why? Who cares if they don't support you? Now that's just me, right? I don't care. And now they do. Now my dad's my biggest cheerleader. But why? Social media is free and is the biggest platform out there to market you and your business. Now, again, there's a way you want to do it. You want to be tactful, strategic. You don't want to be annoying. You know, for example, I give my students a social media schedule. I give them a content calendar so they know exactly what to post on their social media every day of the week. So for those of you who are taking notes, a great place to start is the following social media sites. LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. You want a presence on all 3. Connect with me on Instagram. I'm sharing content every day on Instagram. Go onto Instagram, take my posts and share them. I don't care. Go steal my content. You're providing valuable content to your audience, and in return, your audience will continue to organically grow with the right type of prospective private money lenders, because that's the type of content you're putting out there. So remember, you guys, people love what we do as real estate investors. So show it off. Create your beautiful before and after photos. And for those of you who are new, this is not a showstopper. There are plenty of ways that you can leverage off of before and after photos if you've never done this before. Remember, this is asset-based lending. Excuse me. So your experience is irrelevant. Your credit is irrelevant. Your liquidity, your skin in the game, your personal assets, it's irrelevant. What matters is the deal. If you have a deal and you know how to talk to private money lenders, you have the education, the knowledge, the system, the steps, and the scripts to educate them on your process from A to Z, and you're positioning yourself as an investor who's poised for aggressive growth, you will have no problem raising private money. On average, my students who have never done this before can raise as little as 6 figures in just 21 days. That's it. right? So remember, you're not asking for anything. You're not borrowing anything. You're presenting others with an opportunity to invest. And if they don't see it that way, you got to be so confident in what you're offering. And you got to pretend like you got 15 other private money lenders knocking on your door, even if you don't just yet. And I always share this story. We all have success stories. And I remember when I met Dimitri, he didn't even know what a bandit sign was. He was brand new to real estate. He did not even know how to market for leads. And in 3 years, Dimitri has raised over $9 million in private money from over 35 different investors. So he went from knowing nothing to being a part-time investor to now building skyscrapers and commercial buildings in downtown Austin. So it's a pretty cool success story. So you guys, let's take a step back. What if you set a goal to raise your first $100,000 in just 3 weeks? What would that mean to you? How would that change your life personally, professionally? What if I helped you and I literally held your hand every step of the way? What would that look like for you? Right? So I've created this community. It's the private money community. And it really started out by just bringing together people who have, like-minded goals and values and reasons for wanting to be successful in real estate. And so I focus on working with investors who want to raise unlimited capital, who want to grow and scale their real estate business. We think outside the box. We get creative. We've got over 50 different creative networking strategies, systems, scripts, steps, tutorials that they just take and implement in their own business, and they start seeing results. So it's pretty cool to see how some of them have grown and scaled in just a matter of months. And it's so funny. I always pick on Jamie. I'm not sure if he's on tonight, but when I first met Jamie, he's still a part-time investor, one of the biggest introverts I've ever met. And he knows I share this story, and it's okay. But I remember he was so nervous about having to raise $35,000, but he did it, or it was $30,000, and he did it. He bought this property, renovated, sold it. He turned a profit. I don't remember if it was a $65,000 profit or not, but he turned a profit. And then 5 weeks later, he went on to raise an additional $300,000. Now he is all over social media. He's still doing this part-time. And in the last year, he just put his third deal under contract. So it's amazing, right? It's like, these are things he never thought that he could do. But what does it look like to have systems, steps, and a script? A community of people who are on the same mission as you. Someone literally holding your hand every step of the way. So before we open it up to Q&A, I made a promise to you guys at the beginning of the webinar. I'm going to share with you guys how you can get a hold of me. So for those of you who want to hop on my calendar and do a one-on-one strategy session, that would be great. You can go to raisingpm.com, and I'll put it in the chat box as well, /book call. So it's raisingpm.com /book call, and you can hop on my calendar. And if we don't have time to get through all of your questions today, then we can go through your questions on that call, or we can spend that call strategizing one-on-one what private money would look like for you and your business.